Hi everyone, it's Nisha Zachary here. Welcome to Permission to Leap. Today I have with me Abigail Mensah-Bonsu. Abigail is a multidimensional, transformational, alchemical healer and priestess, empowerment teacher, twin flame matchmaker and guide, and an intuitive soul coach. She works with individuals that are stuck, struggling, and are looking for guidance in how to take their lives to spirit-soaring heights. Whether they are healing from past relationships or in a state of grieving, Abigail uses a variety of different tools to help them come to peace within themselves and to start living their best lives ever. She helps her clients remove blocks and illusions that are preventing them from living to their highest potential and assists them in raising their vibration to be in the resonance of the divine and of divine love. She guides each client on their divine path, soul mission, and purpose through her gift as a channel, using energy healing, intuitive readings, alchemy, transformation, Shakti fire, and her intuitive gifts. Hi, Abigail. Welcome.
Hello, my love.
Thank you so much for being with me today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So I have a question. First and foremost, what is multidimensional transformational alchemical healing?
Oh, I know, right? It's a word full.
Exactly.
So I think it's very interesting. It's very hard to try to categorize what I do, like using words. And so my energy basically is the energy of the alchemist. So taking one thing and transforming it into another. But we're talking about on a spiritual level. I work on that level. And so we go up to the source and we figure out what the imbalance is, what the disconnection is, what the separation is. And then we bring in that balance there, which then trickles down into all the different layers, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. And so then it manifests into the physical. Yeah. And so it's like working the levels. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay. So can you tell us a
Basically,
little bit
yes.
of your story and how you got to doing what you are?
Oh, man. Where do I begin? So I have always known that, I've always been in tune with my intuitive side. And I believe that's because growing up, that was actually my escape. And so I didn't want to be in this physical world. I didn't want to be. And so connection to spirit, that's my norm. Like that was my to go to. And I could just escape from the planet. And even though you would see me walking around, physically, most of the time I wasn't here physically. I was energetically out of my body. And so with that coping mechanism, there's an advantage and a disadvantage. Disadvantage is that I'm not connected to my environment. I'm not connected to the physicality with the groundedness of it. But the advantage is that spiritual intuition, that spiritual gifts, all of that got amplified and kind of, what word am I looking for? It got stronger. Because that's where I put all my energy. And so growing up, it was very easy for me to work with angels. I saw them all around me. They were my go-to. If I needed someone to talk to, I'll go to them. And I had so many dreams where I was trying to escape back to heaven. And then at the gates, I'll be turned around to come back. And I'll be told, no, it's not time yet. I'm like, no, when is it going to be time?
Wow.
And so just, yeah. But it was all a coping mechanism, not wanting to be here on this planet, not wanting to do this all over again. It's like, I've done it, been here so many times. I was over it. And I came in with all that knowledge of my past lives and all that knowledge of what I'm here to do. I came in very aware of my consciousness and my connection to the divine, my connection to everything. And that made me feel very lonely on the planet. I couldn't find anyone who was like me at that time.
Right.
And for me to communicate what I was going through, what I was seeing, or what I was experiencing. And so I was very to myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I would imagine that people would definitely see you as an outsider when you have this different kind of energy from what they have.
Exactly.
So what is your definition of permission?
Yes. And I grew up, oh man. So this word, I was thinking about it the whole time. And first, one thing I noticed is that the first thing that came to me was like, why do we need permission? Why? Why do we even need to use that word?
Mm-hmm.
But if we really into that word, it's like, it's because we are on planet Earth. We're here in the Earth school. And we're physical beings, which means we have the emotional and the mental aspect that we have to deal with. And then on top of all the experiences that make us so heavy, that we cannot have that clear connection to the divinity that we are. And sometimes we need to really, like, literally tell ourselves it's okay for you to connect to that divinity. It's okay for you to be loved. It's okay for you to receive love. We need to physically tell ourselves that to be open to receive. So that kind of, I see it as like me to be this person. It is okay for me to experience this. It is okay for me to be here on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it's permission is. Yes.
Okay. So from your work, what are the greatest blocks that you find that are preventing people from living to their highest potential?
Mental. Totally mental. I know.
Wow.
What I noticed is that most of my clients that I work with have dealt with a lot of shadow work growing up. And whether it is trauma or, whether physical, emotional, mentally, some kind of way, they didn't have a usual happy, I mean, who does nowadays? There's only few people that get to have that, but they had a very rough upbringing, and that tends to cloud you. It tends to your reality, and you keep creating that reality over and over and over till you stop that programming.
Okay.
And so until we recognize what program keeps playing over and over, the source of it, where it begun, then it just keeps going on and on and on. So you live your life in terms of what you experienced in the past, which kind of sucks. But if you don't know that you can change it, then that's all you know. And so that's like one of the biggest thing I've noticed. The other part is it has to do with love. Whether as a child, if they received love or not, whether from parents, friends, family members, it doesn't matter. But as a child, that's where you learn to know that you are the love, and you can also give love and also receive love. If this is not modeled in the home for you, then of course, that's how, when you grow up, that's the same programming you're going to be replicating in your life. Right. And so being a twin flame match, it comes in a lot, where it's like, where did you pick up the pattern that you are not loved, that you don't deserve love? Working with the inner child, and making sure that the inner child is okay. Here's the thing: we're adults now, but the inner child is always with us. Right. All the 4 archetypes that we are, the inner child version is still there with us. So if your inner child is still wounded, you're still carrying that wound until you heal that inner child. So there's a lot of inner child work that I feel like most people tend to put it on the side, and they work more on the adult wounding. Right. And you know that you need the inner child when you've worked on the adult and it's not changing. It's like, it doesn't matter what you do, it's still the same. That's how you know you need to go back to the beginning and do the healing there, so that it can actually heal in the adult world. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So for you, what was a pivot point for you where you had to give yourself permission to just live your own life, despite what other people may have thought about your gifts or your circumstances? How did you give yourself that permission?
Oh, man, I remember very clearly. It was in college. Remember at the beginning, I was telling you that there was a huge chunk of my life where I just I was disconnected from my physicality.
Right.
And this went on for a long time that I literally felt like I was a walking zombie. I mean, I was surrounded by friends, like friends will come to my house and we'll cook. And, people see me from the outside as, well, they saw me from the outside back then as this happy, perfect person.
Right.
But I was literally dying. Like,
Wow.
I didn't want to be here. I was miserable. And there was a time that I woke up and I was like, I can't keep doing this. I just cannot keep living this way.
Yep.
I don't understand how I can have all these blessings around me and I cannot even enjoy them. And so that's where the switch began. And I started to seek the support that I needed. So on campus, they had like the group support. I was a psych major. And so they had the group support thing. And I started going to that. And I remember the leader telling us to do one thing every day that will help bring that spark back up. And so every day I started buying myself a rose.
Wow.
Rose every single time. And I'll have it by my bed and I'll smell it, I'll touch it. And it became a ritual for me. And that just got connecting to that flower, the energy of the plant, that began, like my spark began to come up again. And then of course I started asking for teachers too. And when the students is ready, the teachers appear. And so I started meeting teachers who introduced me to meditation, connecting to myself, connecting to my soul path. And that's when everything just kind of opened up. And of course, it's like little things, like little major activations that happened throughout. One of the major activations was was it 2012? Yeah, that whole year, my past life selves, like each month, a past life will come in and integrate within me.
Okay. So
and that whole month would be working with that past life. And go for it.
What's an activation? Just so everybody knows.
Yes. So it depends. If we're talking about energetic activation, for me, I call in, like the higher beings, the divine beings, but it's more like going into your spiritual DNA and bringing in light there to activate or to light up each of the codons, the 12 codons within the spiritual DNA. And just like the physical DNA has like all the different codons with its attributes, the spiritual also has the same thing, just with spiritual attributes. And so because we're not aware of the spiritual DNA strand, it's usually dormant or shut off. And so what I do is go in there and reignite all 12 of it again, which means that each of its attributes also gets activated or reignited or re-illuminated. There we go.
Okay. So when you were going through this period, you said every month, one would show up.
Yep.
Did that freak you out, or how did you handle that?
Remember, the spiritual world is my normal.
Right.
I'm really excited, but not all of them had nice memories. Most of them went through hell. The ones that got burned by the stake, the ones that got betrayed by their lovers. So there's the anger, there's the grief. And then you get those that it's like, I was a queen, it's like, yes, I want more of this,
Right.
Each of them came in and it's like I relived their life, and then I received the blessing or the gift of whatever that knowledge or wisdom was for that lifetime. And of course that the gift that they had, the intuitive gift they had, will get activated within me. Yeah.
So with each one, it got a little bit more.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It was an intense year.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah.
Gosh. Okay, so you started with the rose. After the rose, what was the first step that you took, or the next step that you took?
That's when I found my first teacher. So she was a shaman. She still is a shaman. And she was, I see her more as my my foundation teacher, because she really helped me rebuild my foundation again, my connection back to this physicality, my connection back to Mother Earth, and how to cultivate that, rebuild my life. And that's what it was all about. Reconnect back into my body and feel comfortable in my body. And,
right.
one of the example of that, like a simple thing, was eating breakfast every morning. I hated it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
So bad that I would literally, I mean, it made me nauseous just thinking about breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And so switching that and like eating something little every morning, that was me connecting back to my body, nourishing it, feeding it, taking care of it, you know? And so that was a simple exercise that I did to like do that reconnection back to the body, re-nourishing myself, coming back to me.
Wow. I'm going to take that because breakfast is one that usually gets forgotten.
Oh, and that's the most important one.
I know. And I'm just been running around trying to get the kids together and trying to make sure everybody's out the door and completely forget about myself.
I hear you. And you know, I'm glad that you said that because it's so important. How many times do we forget ourselves?
Right.
We put everyone first, but ourselves. And even for me now, I say the healer that I am now and all the experience I've had, I still forget to do that.
It's so easy. And I don't know why, because you are you. You know you need fuel to run.
Exactly. And yet, yeah, like my other healer friend was like, you know, Abby, I think it's time for you to put yourself number one again. I was like, oh, I thought I did the work.
Right, so it was over. I'm good now.
She's like, let's revisit that again. I was like, okay. But I can see us as a healer, you know, like we're here in service to humanity.
Right.
What we're doing is to be in service to everyone around us. And we gain so much joy doing that, that we begin to forget that the joy is not that we're giving everything to others, but we're actually nourishing our own souls by following our path.
Exactly.
So we forget. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not alone. Good to know.
No, you are not alone. Oh.
So obviously you're in the spiritual practice business. So I know that you did something on Facebook the other day about the physical person and the spiritual person. Can you speak to that and how that can help you with following your dreams, like knowing the difference between your position now and where you need to be?
Of course. So that's one of the key, I should say, on the roadmap back to yourself or back to your soul mission. So one thing I learned, and this is through the DNA activation process, one thing I learned is that we have spiritual beings and we have physical beings, and I call them spiritual masters or physical masters. We're all masters. Now, some of us, like for me, I mastered the spiritual realm before I came here. So everything spiritual is easy for me. I don't have to work too hard with that. I get it. It makes sense. It's effortless for me. That's what I mastered. Now, what I came to this earth to do is the harder part, is actually learning to be physical.
Wow.
So it's like taking the spiritual, all that mastery, and actually bringing it into the physical, manifesting it into the physical, making it real. So that is my lesson on this, you know, coming back to this earth. So if someone is physical, like a physical master, they've mastered everything that has to do with the physicality. They're usually the successful ones, the ones that manifest money like no other. I mean, they're the ones that you go hiking with and it looks like they are in the land are one. You know, like you're trying to fall and they're just like jumping around everywhere. You know, like earth makes sense to them. That's your home, that's your body. You know, they take care of your body. I mean, it's like effortless for them.
Right.
They're physical masters. And so their job is to be here to actually master the spiritual aspects of it. So usually they're the ones that they can't sit still when they try to meditate, you know, they can't. But if you tell them to go walk and that is their meditation, perfect. They'll do it. Or go work out and that is their meditation, perfect.
Okay.
And so have to be here and try to incorporate the spirituality into their physicality. And do you see how each of them incorporates? It's not like you have to, you know, just because for example, I'm using myself an example. If I manifest or just because I'm a master of spiritual, it doesn't mean that I put that aside and just focus on the physical. It still needs to come in and work with the other one. And so the key is finding those balance, exactly, and
Okay.
bringing them together. And so using them in terms of your sole purpose. If you're as the one who's the physical master is here to teach others how to master that physical realm. And so the spiritual usually needs the physical to kind of help with the balance. Yeah. Okay. So the spiritual aspect, if you're a spiritual master, that means you're here to teach others how to master that. And it's more like the higher self, working with the angels, the archangels, meditation, anything that has to do with the spiritual realm. You're here to teach the physical masters how to connect with the physicality, with the earth, with the planet, with your life, and still be connected to the divine aspects of themselves.
Okay.
And it goes with the other way around with the physical masters, teaching the spiritual masters how to live on this planet and still be connected to their spiritual selves. So that you're not, because the way I see it's like you cannot go higher without rooting into the earth. It's just like a tree, right?
Right.
You cannot without rooting into the earth. So you need that groundedness, the balance, so that you can even reach higher. So both of them come in play like that. Yeah. So that's just a little bit of like, if you, at the beginning of it, if you want to know which path do I need to go, like which path should I go? Am I a physical master? Well, if I'm a physical master, that means I need to master the spiritual side of things because I'm already good with the spiritual or the physical aspect of things.
Right.
And so your work has to do with the spiritual aspect. But in terms of soul mission, you're here to teach others how to manifest their physicality. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I know that there are a lot of people that they have one or the other, and they're not sure how to, work that out. But if they connect with you on Facebook in your group, I know that they can find out more about that. So
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, that's awesome. So when you help people, I just want to know real quick, when you help people and you get them in touch with their divine goddess, what does that mean and how does that work? And how does that help them?
That's a great question. And so every healer works differently. And for me, the way I work, because we all have a council that we come from, that our soul originates from.
Okay.
And so for me, my council is the god and goddesses. So that's why I work a lot with them, because when I meet people, I see the gods and goddesses that they are. Like, it's natural for me. That's what I see first. And that's why for you, when I met you, that's like the first thing I saw. Right. And I usually, if they're ready to receive it, I will give them that name so that they can start connecting. If they're not, I just hold space for them.
Right.
But people, there's the archangel council. So you have, like, my partner is connected to that. So his energy is very archangelic. Like the big wings, protection. That's the archangel. Yeah, they're quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different council that their soul originated from. Okay. And so working with the God and Goddess Council, my job is to help awaken the God and Goddesses on this planet. Okay. If you are awakened, that means you're connected to your higher goddess self. Okay. So, for example, we're talking about Nefertiti. Mm-hmm. Your higher goddess self, but she's not that far from you. It's just she vibrates on a higher level. So when I say high, it's a higher level, a higher frequency that you can tune into to help you remember and also raise your vibration.
Okay, that makes sense.
So working with someone, I would reconnect them, because most of us, or most people, have kind of disconnected that aspect of themselves. Mm-hmm. So they don't know how to. Nobody teaches them how to. So first thing is to realign, reconnect, awaken you to that aspect of yourself. And then I call him or her in to simply just come and be present with you and teach you. So instead of me telling you how it's supposed to be done, which we're kind of overstimulated with that nowadays, instead of that, I just bring the God or goddesses that you are into you and ask them to talk to you. And so I kind of clear that pathway so that the communication will be clear between you two. And you can really begin to integrate in that communication, in that what word am I looking for? It's like a touch, a divine touch that you both of you do.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So what was holding you back from living your dream life?
It has to do with the physical.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
It was,
Oh,
my excuse was that I don't have enough money. That was my excuse.
okay.
You know, it was a mindset. It was a mental thing. Like, oh, I can't do this. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to do this. And who am I to think that I can do this? A lot of people do this. They
Right.
can do it. You know, like, who am I to think that I can make any difference? But here's the thing. It's like I see everyone as like your own type of gemstone, right? So there's rose quartz, there's the amethyst, there's emeralds, and the rubies. We're all different. We're all precious. And so when we come in here with our gifts, we're here to help for example, other rubies realize that they're amazing rubies. Other rose quartz realize that they're also amazing rose quartz. So we all have our purposes, and we all work with certain group. We come in with a soul group. We come in with a soul family, and we work with those soul families. So it doesn't matter if 1,000 people are doing energy healing. Your group, your soulmate clients sign the contract to only work with you.
Oh,
and so me not stepping into my fullness, not stepping into my work, I am doing them disservice. I'm not helping them as, what we talked about in the contract. I'm not doing that for them. And so how am I helping myself or helping them? We're all falling down if I'm not stepping in.
Right.
So it's like mindset. Like, I had to switch my mindset and say, no, I am a gorgeous ruby, and I need my ruby people.
Exactly.
So that they are amazing, beautiful, red. Oh, yes, scarlet, ruby, like they can get an attention anywhere. Like, they are amazing, powerful ruby beings.
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
So we all have our own people, and basically what was holding you back was your money mindset.
Exactly.
Okay. So what is one habit that you have, like a daily routine that you have that contributes to your success?
Oh man. So one thing that I do every single morning, this is like my non-negotiable. I do not leave the house without doing I have a ritual, a spiritual practice that I do every morning. And it's like a prayer, basically, a prayer of protection, a prayer of alignment, a prayer of centering. And so I light the candles. I have an altar. I light my candles. I do my prayers. I call in divine help to actually walk with me. I call in more of me. So I call in my power back to me. And I also call in my spiritual team to come and be with me for the day. And then the next thing I do is that I pull a card. So I pull a card to kind of give me a gist of what the day is going to be like. And they're pretty right. They're pretty on point. Sometimes some of them are like, oh my gosh, I don't want this card. Never mind. And then you're like, dang it, I have to deal with that. But so I pull the card to kind of give me like the forecast day, and I write it in my journal. Like, this is the card I got. This is what it says. And then throughout the day, it kind of reveals itself. So I usually still, even though you read it and it tells you, it's still, you don't know what that's going to be like. So at the end of the day, I'm able to recalibrate. Is that the word for it? And then kind of review back and be like, oh, that's why this card showed up. This is how it did. And this is what happened. And I journal. So the morning part is like the prayers, and then pulling the card. And then I go about my day. And then at the end of the day, I journal on my day. And those two are so important. They're like my two pillars that keep me going. Sometimes I'll forget to do the journaling at the end of the day, but the morning is non-negotiable. Like, that's like my connection. I cannot leave the house without being in tune and being in alignment with what the divine wants me to do, and what the divine wants me to create, and who the divine wants me to come in contact with. So I have to really do that and be in alignment. And so, yeah, that's like the two pillars right there.
Okay, so when you say pull a card, for those that don't know, what does that mean?
So I have, it's like you can use an oracle card or you can use a tarot card, whichever is comfortable for you. I mean, nowadays they have so many oracle cards. There's one is not better than the other. It's all about which one goes with you. So for me, I have goddess cards that I use. I actually have those like monthly themed on my altar. And then I also have like, do you know Gabrielle Bernstein?
Uh-huh.
Yes, her cards, The Universe Has Your Back is beautiful. Beautiful cards.
Okay.
It's so gorgeous. And I mean, the colors on there, I mean, that alone like increases your vibration just looking at it. And so I just pull one out and then it has like the, like a message on there for me. Or there's another card that I use. Again, I'll just pull one out, look at the message, look at the picture on there, see what it's me. So you can, there's so many cards that you can use, just whichever feels good to you, and then use that to get your message for the day.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so where can everybody get in touch with you?
Oh man. So of course you can find me on Facebook. You can just type in my name, Abigail Mensah Bonsu. I know the last part sounds complicated, but it's not.
There'll be a link under there.
Link, so just follow that. You find me on Facebook. You can always email me at abigail@shaktirosehc.com, and I will always get back to you that way. But Facebook is a great way to get hold of me because I'm on there with all my groups and discussions with my groups. So you can never fail with that messenger there.
Perfect. Okay, so there's going to be links to all of that underneath. There will also be a link to the 30 Days of Transformation Facebook group in case anybody wants to get those vibes going, because that group is absolutely just rocking. So I'm going to put the link under there. And then I thank you for your time today. I certainly appreciate you taking the time to do this with me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Mama, you have a good day.
Mwah.